for he shall return no more, nor see his native country. Okay, all right. So this is about Josiah and his son Shalom, who was Jehoahaz. Okay, so two ends of the spectrum. Again, the right and the wrong. Okay, so excuse me, Josiah. Just to give you a little background about him. So when King Josiah was, while he was king, the books of the law were found. He was rebuilding the temple. What do you call it? Rebuilding. Yeah, he was rebuilding the temple. So during the renovation, I should say, he was renovating the temple. So while he was renovating the temples, the books of the law were found and brought to him. And so when he saw that, according to the Bible, then he changed his form of leadership. He changed his form of leadership. They were not doing it right. He found the books of law. And what are the books of law? That would have been the scriptures of the days, right? The books of law, we know that as the Torah, the books of Moses, right? And so they found the books of law in the temple. What a great place for them to be. Amen. So they brought them to him when he found the books of law and said, "Oh, this is what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be following these things." Amen, right? So he changed his form of leadership to follow the books of law, following God. Amen. So he wiped out all the pagan cults that had formed within the land, and along with his people then entered into a new covenant. So him and the people, because he's the leader, right? And it said, remember earlier when we started the lesson, it says people suffer oftentimes because of bad leadership. So now this leader got it right. Found the books of the law, and he didn't just start obeying it himself. He made all the people start obeying the law of God and enter a new covenant with the Lord. Amen. And into this new covenant with the Lord to keep the commandments of the Lord. Okay, so here's the twist. Sad twist, but true. And it happens. All right. So sad twist. So Josiah had 4 sons. Although Josiah was a king, ended up being a king, and it's quoted in God. So when you go through the Old Testament, you go through like Kings and Chronicles, you'll see it'll say he was a king after God's own heart, or he was not a king after God's own heart. When it says he's not a king, that means he was an evil king, or a disobedient king, or a king that did these injustices to people, robbed them, had heavy taxes on them, took advantage of the disenfranchised, the widows, the immigrants, things like that. They were not a king after God's own heart because they did not practice justice. But those that did practice justice were kings after God's heart, and they followed did what they could to follow the law and the commandments of the Lord. Amen. But his sons, baby, not so much. They did not. So, sad commentary that your children could end up doing evil when they're raised in the household to follow the commandments of God. Then they grow up and become people that do evil. Right? So anyway, his son Shalom is whom specifically we're talking about here. Shalom, first known as Jehoahaz, is the son of Josiah. So what they're talking about, he was exiled just 3 months into his kingship. So it says, weep not for the dead, neither bemoan him, right? That's talking about Josiah. It says, but weep for him that goeth away. That's talking about Shalom, or Jehoahaz, if you want to call him that, because he was exiled. For he shall return no more, nor see his native country. And not only on top of that, he never has he never gets the acknowledgement of like his father, what his father did. He never can bring back to the throne the integrity of the justice. He leaves a legacy of injustice on the throne, whereas Josiah leaves a legacy of justice. After finding the books of law, they enter back into a covenant relationship with God, not only himself but for the people. But then his sons come behind him, and they leave a legacy of injustice, a trail of injustice to the people. And it says in it's disrespectful. It says it says, but weep sore for him that goeth away. Weep sore for him, because he is the one that is the one who needs the weeping, because he's the one that does not have he's the one that isn't able to get justice back, right? So Josiah was a king that gave great honor to God, whereas his sons did not give great honor to him. And to all the dead in the exile, in light of their prior judgment, if they die and they go the way and they were dead, then you can't get that back, right? You can't get that back when it's not like you can come back and make up for the things that you've done. So the message here is that just because of who you are and what you do, or who your father is, your reputation also stands for itself. Just because Josiah was his father, Shalom didn't mean that he would still be able to carry on the same reputation. He had to be a king of justice himself, and he was not. He was not a king of justice, neither was his brothers, irregardless of the fact that his father was, and he left that inheritance on the throne, right? So that's our lesson here. I wanted to read that's it. That's all I wanted to do. All right. Hope this has been a good lesson for you. Enjoyed the lesson. I'm liking Jeremiah. Hope you are enjoying Jeremiah. Do the right thing. Couple things. Do the right thing. If, right? If you do this, then this is going to happen. If you do this, then that's going to happen. Regardless of what you choose, there are going to be consequences for the things you choose. Just like with the kings, regardless of what they chose, there were going to be consequences. Just like with the people, regardless of what they chose, there was going to be consequences. God, in the beginning of this, he addresses them all. He addresses the king, he addresses the people. He addresses them all, letting them know that their choice, the king's choice, they all will have to answer for their consequences, for the choices they make, and there will be consequences for the choices. Amen. All right. Well, I hope this lesson has been a blessing to you. It's been a blessing for me to teach it to you, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope to hear you at church at 10. Be blessed. Amen.